everyone. I would like to call the Howell Council meeting to order. Excuse me. Opening statement, please.
This meeting is being held.
Actually, I didn't say the date. It's November 22nd, 2022. Excuse me.
7 o'clock. Thank
7
you.
p.m.
This meeting is being held in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice has been provided by transmitting the notice of this meeting to the Asbury Park Press, the Tri-Town News, and the Star Ledger, by posting it on the bulletin board reserved for such announcements in the Township Municipal Building, and by filing it with the municipal clerk on January 11th, 2022. This agenda is complete to the extent known, and formal action will be taken.
Roll call.
Councilman Bonovich?
Present.
Councilwoman Brennan is not here at the moment. Councilwoman O'Donnell? Here. Deputy Mayor Richmond is absent. Mayor Berger?
Present.
Thank you.
If we could please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance and keep in our minds and our hearts all the people that are freezing, have no food, and of course all of our first responders. So please keep everybody in your heart during this time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, is there any reason to go into executive session?
Yes, there is, Mayor. We have several topics to cover tonight, including matters covered by attorney-client privilege and litigation.
May I have a motion for executive?
Make a motion to go into executive session?
Second.
Thank you.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes. So we don't think it's going to be very long. It's for the people that are here, right? So we figure about 15 minutes. Is that fair?
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I think 15 minutes should about do it.
Okay.
We might even be out quicker.
At this time, may I reopen the meeting? Are we ready?
Yep. Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Present.
Thank you.
Would you like to read the proclamation, please?
Yes. Proclamation Family Court Awareness Month, November 2022. Whereas the mission of the Family Court Awareness Month Committee, FCAMC, is to increase awareness on the importance of family court system that priorities child safety and acts in the best interest of children. And whereas the mission at the FCAMC is fueled by the desire to create awareness and change in the family court system for the conservatively estimated 58,000 children a year ordered into unsupervised contact with physically or sexually abusive parents, while honoring the hundreds of children who have been reported as murdered due to visitation with a knowingly dangerous parent, including 6-year-old Corey Misiallo in the state of New Jersey. And whereas the mission of the FCAMC is to increase awareness on the importance of periodically based education and training on domestic violence, child emotional and physiological abuse, childhood trauma, child sexual abuse, coercive control, post-separation abuse for all professionals working on cases within the family court system. And whereas the mission of the FCAMC is to increase awareness on the importance of using scientifically valid, evidence-based treatment programs and services that are proven in terms of safety, effectiveness, and therapeutic value. And whereas the mission of the FCAMC is to educate judges and other family court professionals on evidence-based, peer-reviewed research. Such research is a critical component to making decisions that are truly in the best interest of children. Therefore, Mayor Teresa Berger of the Township of Howell, on behalf of the governing body, does hereby proclaim November 2022 as Family Court Awareness Month in Howell Township, and encourage all residents to support their local communities' efforts to prevent the harm of children in the hands of family members and to honor the value of lives and children.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, I would like to, did you want me to open up, Joe? You want to go first? Because we started to do the reports at the end, so
I would like to get the discussion done early.
I think we were doing, like,
Open.
the elected officials at the end and, like, this side at the beginning. So when we have Caitlin go first, because
Go
she's
ahead.
going to explain what's going on with ordinance 2264.
Okay, for update to the council and all public members regarding ordinance 64. It was previously on the agenda and it was removed from tonight's agenda. And that is because a portion of this project, it's regarding the radio infrastructure project, needs to be presented to the local finance board. There was a referendum, multiple referendums held by the various fire districts in October. All of them were successful. Unfortunately, one of the districts had a procedural error, so we had to modify the local finance board application. We worked with that district and we're coming up with a different financing plan, and they are actually having a special capital meeting this evening, using some of their reserves instead of bonding for that portion of the project. Due to the change in the local finance board application, the timeline of the project has slightly shifted. The next local finance board hearing is on December 14th, which is a day after our next council meeting. We cannot pass ordinance 64 or put it up for adoption until the local finance board hears this portion of the ordinance and puts their input on it. So what the Township Council is planning on doing is bringing ordinance 64 for a public hearing at the next regularly scheduled meeting on the 13th. We cannot vote on that ordinance until after the local finance board meeting on the 14th. So council discussed and are planning on holding a special meeting to vote on ordinance 64. Right now, it's tentatively scheduled for December 16th at 11 a.m. via Zoom. Again, we're still planning on holding the public portion of the ordinance of the hearing on the 13th.
So the upshot is, for purposes of tonight, we can't go forward with that ordinance, so we have to table it. It'll be on in December. We're revising our application to the local finance board in cooperation with the fire districts, and we are going to get the deal done before the end of the year, and we'll be moving forward with the Motorola contract.
If necessary, there'll be a third meeting after the 16th.
There will, so let's say local finance comes back and says, we want this, that, and the other thing changed, and we have to reintroduce the ordinance, we will draft the ordinance, introduce it, and pass it in December.
So that's only if the local finance board has any amendments or changes. We'll have to introduce on the 16th, have a special meeting by the
Like
end of
10
the year.
days later,
Okay.
at least, yeah. So there's enough runway left in December for us to get it done.
And to go off of that, ordinance 65, which is still on the agenda for today, is the township's portion of the project. Since the township does not need to present to the local finance board for their portion of the project, we're moving forward with the public hearing and adoption of that ordinance today.
Okay.
Are there any other reports?
I just have a couple quick ones. People have probably noticed some of the open space signage that's been installed around the township. We're looking for more sites to add some less than obvious sites. We don't want to put them on our known parks, but some of those sites that are wooded that you don't know, maybe the township owns, just gives a good feel so people can see what's been preserved over the years. We are building out the website for that too, so if you follow that QR code, it's a little bare bones right now, but I am adding some GIS mapping, working with one of our consultants to really redo the whole page and do what's called the GIS story. It's going to have a lot of maps, interactive features. We're actually doing drone video recordings, and we're going to put it up on the website as well. So we're going to be able to highlight some of those parks. Just yesterday, we got notice that the state of New Jersey released a grant opportunity for open space projects, park projects. I met with our grant consultant today. We're going to put together an application for that. We're exploring which options are going to be the best possibility of getting funding, and we're going to put an application in for that. It's about $25 million across the state, so we're looking for funds for that, and we'll use that in our park rehabilitation plan. Also, last week, we held a demolition hearing. So council allots a certain amount of money for me to go look for some properties for demolition. We identified 3. 2 of the owners, trying to stay in budget, we limited it to 3. 2 of the owners responded to our preliminary order and said, yep, you're right, we get it, we're going to demolish. So within the next few months, we hope to see those down. 1 property owner did not respond, so we're going to go through the process. The money in the budget should cover that, and we'll put the lien on, get reimbursed, so it should cost taxpayer dollars, nothing. But we're hoping to get that done in the next few months as well. Those are my updates,
I have an addition to that. I'll talk to you later.
I'm sure.
So I'll go through a few of them very quickly. Last week, we milled and repaved Newton's Corner Road from Lakewood Allenwood to Herbertsville. Contractor's going to stripe it tomorrow. NJ American Water completed the current phase of their water main replacement project in Candlewood. They repaved Pittsfield and Pepperidge Roads. We have a holiday decorating contest underway. Registration forms are due by December 7th. They're available on our website. I'll acknowledge the fall market at Echo Lake. I thought it was a great success, and the first and hopefully an annual pie contest took place. I know that some of the members in the dais were there. I thought that was a pretty good day. The holiday tree lighting will take place on December 11th, again at Echo Lake. We'll have more details available shortly. Given the parking situation there, we're going to be running shuttles as well, so we will be able to get everybody there to participate. Tomorrow, the Senior Center and PBA 228 will be holding their annual Thanksgiving meal distribution. It's one of our greatest events in Howell. Our police officers in the Senior Center, on their time off, deliver numerous meal baskets throughout the community. DPW, we've completed the second brush grinding of the year, completed the railing at the Senior Center. We've installed 4 bottle filling stations here in Town Hall. The work on the archery range is complete. We're going to coordinate the remaining amount of work with the United Bow Hunters of New Jersey, so that should be up and running very soon. And I did want to acknowledge one of our very own, Officer Dan Murphy. He was awarded the Bronze Medal of Valor Award at the New Jersey State PBA's annual Valor Awards banquet. It's for officers from all over the state of New Jersey. His actions in the context of a hostage situation were above and beyond, and he was, he performed remarkably and was honored last night.
Kudos to Howell PD. Are there any other reports? At this time, I would like to open this portion of the meeting for hearing of citizens. Do we have a list? Remember, these are on resolutions that are currently on the resolutions, not on the ordinances. Thank you. Mr. Rayberger?
Yeah, I'm sure you know I've been coming in here probably
Yes.
for 6 years now, right? Your first term. And we have a big problem on my road, on a boulevard, as you know. It's used as a cut-through for the trucks. Something like 4,000 vehicles a day, cars and trucks, are doing 15 mile an hour, 80% of them over the speed limit. So I don't know, I mean, Chief Kudrick did the report 3 years ago. They analyzed all the roads out there. Nobody did anything with it. I don't know what happened with that. Probably spent a ton of money on taxpayers on that. Nobody did anything with it. You had a copy of that, I believe. I gave it to you. So then all of a sudden they're talking about they're doing a traffic circulation plan. And I believe I talked to Mr. Clark here about a year ago, and he said once that was done, we could start getting some of them trucks off the road. Start putting some ton weight restriction signs up.
So I'll jump in if you don't mind. That's exactly what we're doing. We are working with the state DOT, we're working with the county, and we're working to put weight restrictions on the road. So it takes time to do that. Obviously, you've got multiple layers of bureaucracy from the county to the state, but we are working to get the restrictions in place for you.
Yeah, how long you been working on it for?
We've been working on it since probably when I talked to you about it.
Oh, okay. Because I left 3 messages, which I even stopped by the office last month.
Yeah, I know. I am working diligently to get your weight restrictions in
I
place,
appreciate that.
but I don't have an update for you. And as you can imagine, I have a lot of other things that I'm
Okay.
working
Well,
on,
what do you
so
think would be a good time for me to come back to another one?
what would you like to discuss?
See where, when we get the trucks off the road.
I'll tell you what, why don't we meet in December? You can reach out, give me a date, and if I have any update, I'll meet with you regardless. If I have an update, I'll tell you what it is. If I don't, then I'll buy coffee.
Understood. Understood, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and also, I don't think do anything about the speed limit. Everybody speeding on the road. I think I came back, the last meeting I was here was last December, and I honestly, I said to everybody, I says, I think there's gonna be, a little kid's gonna get killed out there. Sure enough, kid was getting off the bus, car blew right through the red lights and almost killed the kid. A special needs child, no less. So something needs to be done with the speeding on that road. I mean, like I said, I got the report right here. Well, you got it, I gave it to you.
Joe, can we have it re-looked at? I mean,
We have had traffic look at this road probably more than any road in Howell. I can guarantee that. And I have reports from them. We are working now at the state level to get the weight restrictions on it. We have done traffic studies, we've done traffic counts, we've done speed counts, and we're getting some different information than, maybe Mr. Rayberger is seeing. So, I can represent that, our traffic department is excellent, and we're working with them to do what we can.
Well, it's getting worse by the day, I can tell you that much. The only solution I'm gonna tell you right now is you gotta put speed bumps in that road. 3 speed bumps. That's not just gonna slow them down. Almost lost a kid this past spring, trying to get off the bus. Car blew right through the red lights on, they even had it on camera. The bus driver, told my neighbor that, they don't even bother taking the guy to court. They got the license plate and everything, but they said the police don't bother to show up to back them up, which I thought is, odd. My daughter almost got killed, blew through the red lights. I mean, they go out there, patrol it, walk the car there. The minute they leave, everybody's speeding again. It's a straight road. It's a drag strip. They actually drag race out there at nighttime. So I just hope this thing doesn't end bad. We had a couple of near misses, and I even told you that was going to happen last December when I was at that meeting. None's being done. It's getting worse by the day. What do we can do about that, Mr. Clark?
I will continue working with the state and the county to get the weight restrictions in place. I told you I would, and we are working to do it now, so we'll keep moving forward.
Any way we can get some speed bumps out there?
Probably not, but I can look into that.
Well, I know they got them all over all the other towns. I was in Bricktown yesterday. They got them all over the place.
I'm sorry, your time has ended.
Mr. Clark, is it possible to at least speak to the PD and see if something temporarily could be in place with the speed bumps until such time as the weight restrictions?
I
are
will
imposed?
discuss it with traffic the first thing tomorrow.
Even
I've
some
had
signage,
them
some
out
lighted
there
signage.
multiple times with signage, with.
Yeah, I
with
mean,
all
I
of
even
that.
asked if they
So,
could put up one of them electronic speed signs.
That's what I'm
They
talking
didn't
about.
even do that.
That's,
I mean, like, I gave you a copy of the report, the one that was done 3 years ago by Kudrick, and I think it was something like 4,000 vehicles, 80% of them are doing 15 mile an hour over the speed limit. And I'm gonna tell you something, there's a lot more people moving in on that road. They're building a lot of houses on that road. It's not getting any better. Well, thank you, Mr. Clark.
you're very welcome.
I'll come in and
Call
see
my
you,
office. we'll set up a meeting, and like I said, we'll have coffee, and if there's nothing to update you on, then we'll just figure out what we can do.
Find out when, yeah,
All right?
where we're at.
All right.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice Thanksgiving, too.
Have a wonderful
too.
Thanksgiving. Barbara Dixell? Bless you.
Thank you.
My walking is getting worse these days.
Is there a chair up there?
Now your chairs are gone. I'm a lost without my four-wheel drive.
There's no chair.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
I'm here for several reasons tonight, all good for a change. You're all lucky. Anyway, my first thing that I have to say is to Joe Clark, Allison, and the council,
Excuse
God-
me. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
is that for me?
No, it wasn't for you.
Okay, a big God bless you, and I mean God bless you, for the railing at the senior center. I begged for 2 years. As crippled as I am, you couldn't walk down that hill or walk back up that hill without risking serious, permanent injury. And thank you for doing it. You did it in-house, which was wonderful, and you walked down the hill with me, and we cut the ribbon. It was my pleasure, and I'll accept the thanks for every citizen in Howell, not only for me, for everybody that's got to walk up and down that hill. It's a blessing, and it's here forever, and thank you. And Mr. Bonovich, thank you for serving. You've done a wonderful job. Proud of you. Thank you very, very much. Suzanne Brennan, thank you also very, very much. And Mayor, as always, you continue to do a good job. Really, I'm proud of all of you. And Evelyn, I'm sure you'll do a good job in the next council also. But thank you all very, very much. And like I said, God bless you all. Have a good holiday, but God bless you all for that senior railing. You will save a lot of serious injury for all of us decrepit old ladies and people that have to walk up and down that hill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, you too. Believe it or not, it made the newspaper.
Front page, Barb,
Huh?
front page.
It made
the
the front
picture.
page,
Yeah.
it made the Asbury Park Press, but somebody called me yesterday and said it made the Howell Times also, so I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you're famous.
But you know what, for a good reason.
Absolutely.
For everybody, safety in this town. It took how, 20 years, Mr. Clark?
It took a while, it took too long, and I'm glad that it's done now. It's a lot safer, and it's a great railing.
It's wonderful, it's wonderful. I know, and it was great to cut the ribbon and great to walk down the hill with you. Thank you. Thank you all.
There's no one on the list. Is there anyone else that wants to come up and speak? If not, I will close this portion of the meeting. May I have a motion?
Motion to close public.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. May I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion to move resolutions 22-333 through 22-362, excluding 361.
Second. Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you. Consent resolutions pass.
We're now on the ordinances, right? On unfinished businesses, public adoption or / adoption of ordinances. Ordinance 22-63, capital ordinance providing for the acquisition of an easement to permanently protect land located in the vicinity of Naval Weapons Station, Earl, and appropriating $60,720, therefore authorized in and by the Township of Howell in the County of Monmouth. I would like to open up this portion if anyone wants to speak on this ordinance. You could, Barbara, yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Look at that.
Thank you very much.
Service.
Okay, thank you. Because my walking is getting, I'm growing up. I'm 83 and my walking is getting worse. No, is there any, can you explain the reason for this?
Sure, I'll take that. The federal government and Naval Weapons Station Earl has a pot of money that part of their land use practices and their policies going forward is they're looking to preserve and protect land around the base. They don't want certain uses to be conflicting with the base's operation. It leaves them open for a potential closure in the future. So what they've done is they've set aside some money to start to preserve properties around the base instead of them becoming developed. And this is a purchase of the development rights on the property. So this is a parcel that won't be able to be developed, much like our farmland preservation. It's taking away the rights to develop further, and it's going to preserve the property in its current state.
And does it include outside the perimeter, like housing and business and everything that could cause it to have a problem?
So this is a specific property, and it's preserving it for residential and agricultural use only.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
I'm going to close the public portion for this ordinance. May I have a motion to close?
Motion to close.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 22-63?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 2263.
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted.
Ordinance 22-65, bond ordinance providing for various improvements to the township's communications infrastructure for the benefit of the township, the Borough of Farmingdale, and several fire districts within the township, appropriating $340,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $323,000 in bonds and notes to finance a portion of the costs thereof authorized in and by the Township of Howell in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey. Could you put any more words in that?
I'm going to blame the bond attorney for that one.
I would like to open this portion to the public.
Robert Tice, 144 Minocqua Road. Volunteer career, currently Commissioner in Howell District 2. Reason I stand here tonight, I just want to have a few questions for the council and Mr. Clark as well. Recognizing that the district that had the issue was our district. What I'm asking, I guess, what I want to find out is, once we get to the point of the ordinance being passed at the next couple of meetings, you had mentioned there's a couple issues that could come up with the local finance board, being that District 2 is no longer in that situation as far as we don't need to move forward with that. Where does that make us stand as far as moving forward with being that all other districts' referendums have already passed? What do you foresee, I guess is my question.
What I foresee is...
What do you foresee a local finance board having?
Sure, so what I foresee is that the local finance board will approve the structure. What I don't foresee is anything that they could say about it. I don't expect them to, but we need to leave space, time-wise in case they do. We don't want to be sitting here on December 31st voting on an ordinance and the local finance board tells us, well, it's flawed. You got to wait till next year. So we're baking in enough time to fix anything that might come up.
Okay, and once that's completed, what is the time frame for signing the contract with Motorola and moving this project forward?
Well, the time frame now, it extends out into February because your budget has to pass. You're moving reserve into your debt service, and that's going onto your budget, which is subject to voter approval. So it's all in your hands still. We would move forward with it today, but for the fact that we don't have a full commitment out of Fire District 2 to repay us until your budget's approved.
Okay, well, because what I'm understanding, based on my conversations with our attorney as well as our auditor, as of tonight's budget, our meeting tonight, once it passes, which I fully expect it to based on the election results that we had during the referendum, that money is in the budget and cannot be touched. So I don't see how waiting till February would make any difference. And we can discuss that further, but that's what I was told.
Yeah, we can discuss it further, and we probably should discuss it further with the attorneys, because I think maybe there's some subtleties to it that you're not picking up on. And it's very important that from the township's perspective, we have everything in place. We've been working with you guys as shoulder to shoulder this whole time to make this deal happen. And, right now, we're in a difficult position because of the vote that happened in District 2. We're working to overcome that.
Right. So I guess my question is then for the council is as follows, or not my question, my statement would be as follows. This radio project is a project for the safety of the residents as well as the first responders. This is a ongoing thing that's been going on for 2 years since we did the study. The Fire District 2 was the one that, when I got involved in this as a commissioner, the reason I got involved with it was for this radio. This has been going on for over 10 years. We need to address this, barring whatever happens financially wise. I feel like we need to move forward and worry about what pocket the money's coming out of, because it's coming out of taxpayers' pocket, whether it's out of the fire districts or whether it's out of the other thing. It's coming out of taxpayers' pockets. We need to get this fixed. Every day, when that bell goes off, we're sending young men and women out, volunteer or otherwise, and putting their lives in risk. That's how bad this has become. This is a major, major incident. And the only reason, a major concern for me, and one of the reasons why I got involved. And I understand the legal end of it. I get it. I understand that our district dropped the ball. I get that too. We're working very hard and diligently with the gentlemen and ladies on this side of the aisle to make it happen. But I'm imploring you guys to please move this ordinance and move this forward. We'll figure out the money end of it at the end of it. We're not going to we have to write the check on January 1 of 2023. I understand it, the ordinance and the way this thing goes, as far as the bond issue, we could be 3 or 4 or 5 months into this project. We need to start digging holes, putting up antennas, and fixing this. This is a major issue. And we're putting people's lives at risk every single day that bell goes off.
So we talked about this in the very beginning of the meeting, so I would just like some further clarification, if you can, about how we can and cannot vote on it until the Finance Board does.
Right, so if we move forward as you're proposing with Ordinance 64 today, it will be invalidated. We cannot, because the local finance board has to have their meeting and their input first. So putting it back on the meeting is a non-starter, because we're going to invalidate the entire bond ordinance. We don't want to do that. So moving forward at the next meeting, how I originally spoke, we're planning on holding the public portion of that meeting at our regularly scheduled meeting, and then holding a special meeting to vote on it. The special meeting will be after the local finance board meeting. What I believe you're referring to is us entering into the contract with Motorola. Again, the township cannot enter into a contract with Motorola until we secure all of the financing in place. That financing won't be in place until your budget is passed. I know the technicalities of debt service and it being, you can't touch it once it's in debt service, but your budget is not passed, so that there's no money in place. So we have to wait until your budget is passed.
Well, my only comment with that be...
And Mayor, if I could just hop on, just so the public's aware and the governing body is aware of this, it's not a matter of the governing body not wanting to help the fire districts and not being able to spend the money and sign the contract and move forward. It's a matter of a chicken or the egg, right? And the state and local finance board is not going to allow you to sign the contract and encumber funds until the budget's passed. There's a linear process that has to occur, and unfortunately, because of, for whatever reasons, it hasn't occurred yet. So, Frank, to Caitlin's point, you could adopt the ordinance, and it would be invalidated, and you'd be back here again. You'd have to have another special meeting, again, expending more taxpayer money to have a special meeting for an ordinance you legally adopted.
Could this be a project that's, I want to call it phased? It starts out with the other districts, and then this one come in February? Like, can the program start?
No, our application to the local finance board is as a wholesale, unilateral deal. And that was how it was presented to the fire districts. That's what we've been working towards, and that's what's in front of the local finance board.
Yeah, but Mr. Clark, in all due respect, if we're no longer going to the finance board because we're coming from the cash from our end, how does our, to the mayor's point, have
No,
anything to do with them for the bond?
You're not going to the finance board. Every other district is. We're proposing the whole structure of the deal to the, I know you want this done. I've read your emails. I know you want this done 10 years ago. But we're going to do it the right way, and we're going to do it in a way that's legal and not open to challenge.
And understand, I mean, because it was one application, which it should be the local finance board, if we're trying to cut corners, you run the risk of not being able to do any of it.
And to your point, Mr. Tice, this council, we have our regular meeting on the 13th, local government services on the 14th. This council agreed to have 2 extra special meetings to make sure it's done this year on our end. Because I believe it's not on your back, it's on our back. We're the governing body, and we're here to protect the whole community, you know, first responders and all of us. So this council, I mean, that's probably be the last thing I do up here, is pass that for you guys,
Well,
and for everyone.
and the only thing I would say in closing, and I know I'm running out of time, is as follows. When I came forward to this with the past manager, the discussion was to move forward as a group, knowing full well that this is basically the township's problem. The township is responsible for dispatch. So we're basically, again, going out of pocket A or pocket B, who's paying for it tax-wise. And I kind of feel like I made the wrong decision. I should have been more like, hey, this is your problem, fix it, and move forward. And I think we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. But obviously, my district, and I'm standing up here and taking the heat for it, we dropped the ball. And 100%, our attorney has been let go for that fact, and we're moving forward and doing our due diligence to make it right. But I don't want to come back here on the 16th and find out because of some other technicality, and I understand the legal end of it, I get it, that we're still in the same position we were 2 years ago when this all started. This study from 2 years has been on the desk of the past manager, and Mr. Clark, to his point, came in and he said, I need time. Okay, he's had time. This is that important and needs to be addressed. And I don't want another technicality in the 16th, the 17th, the 31st. Now we're into February, and we still don't have a radio product.
So that's why we chose the 16th. On December 14th, if there is some error, we have time to correct it.
Well, I appreciate you guys' time.
Because we would have to introduce and then adopt. So that's
I
why.
would say this in closing, again, to you guys, any questions, concerns? Obviously, we've been talking. You know my position, and I just really feel that this has to be, and again, has to happen. It cannot go until February, March, which basically means April, then July, and now we're another year into this, and we still don't have any mortar done.
We are all aware of your position, and we are all working to get it on board.
Thank you.
Again, just for clarity's sake, there's going to be the hearing on the ordinance on the next meeting, the next council meeting on the 13th.
On the 13th.
Then the local finance board meets on the 14th.
Correct.
And then we have our special meeting set for
On the 16th.
Friday, the 16th at 11 a.m. That's just so that we can vote, but the public has the right to speak up at that hearing on the 13th that evening at the council meeting.
Right,
just
so
for clarity for
anybody who
everybody's
wants to be
together.
heard on the ordinance should come here on the 13th. We're keeping it on for the hearing because we feel that we'll probably get more people there for that meeting, and then we'll just do the vote on the 16th after the local finance board.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Steve Morlino, Peachstone Road. I just want to make sure we're all on board, the administration and the council, on keeping this a local dispatch system. The residents have voted, for the most part, other than what I'm hearing this evening with a glitch in budgeting, but other than that, the residents have voted to keep the system, pay for the upgrades within the community, and I would like to make sure we're all on board in keeping it here in the community and not going to a county system, which there's been a lot of pressure from the county to go to a county dispatch system. Okay? I'm absolutely opposed to going to a county dispatch system. Howell is large enough to stand on its own, and if anything, we should be the backup to the county system, if and when that fails. Okay?
We are, and I
We're
agree
big
with
enough
you
to do that.
100%.
So I'd like a commitment from everyone, and I'm going to ask the new council coming in, that we get a commitment from them, that this is going to remain in Howell Township.
Absolutely.
All right? Thank you much. Have a great holiday.
Same to you.
Mayor, Council, I'm going to expand on what Steve Morlino said. It's my opinion also, this must remain in Howell. We cannot go to the county. And I'm going to tell you from the villages, we have 617 houses in the villages. As it is, people have a hard time, as it is, finding things. The county people will never find the houses of people who have a severe emergency where life and death is at stake. And you will have people dying in the villages because the county cannot find their way in there. Please keep it in mind.
I agree, during Sandy.
I'm going to ask that you attach me to Steve Morlino's request to keep any emergency services in Howell Township. We got 53,000 people. You turn this loose to the county. Listen, the county's got to take care of all of Freehold and all of Englishtown and everything else. You really think that they can come in here and take care of us? Forget it. It's all political. It's political because they want it to be political. Keep it local. I'm begging you. For 617 houses and 1,000 residents in the villages. All of us, including me, I was half crippled and can't walk, but if I have an emergency, I want my people to come and take me. I had an incident on August 16th where I woke up one morning, God only knows what happened to me because I don't know. Jerry called the ambulance, and Howell ambulance took me to the hospital. I don't want the county. They'll never find it. There's 6 villages. The first question you need to ask in Howell Township, what village do you live in? I live in Village 2. There are no duplication of house numbers. Every village in the villages is a different country. I'm in Italy, Piazza Vittoria. It's like delivery people go bonkers trying to deliver things. And on my street, I live on Piazza Vittoria, it doesn't come up. On the GPS, it comes up Corso Italia, around the corner. I'm telling you, I'm begging you, please, put it down, Mr. Clark. Write it down. Write it on your notes that this has to be. Absolutely, please. It has to be, and attach me to Steve Morlino, please. I want a commitment also. Just thank you very much.
I feel like I've taken a crazy pill sometimes because there's no intent ever to go to the county. We've been saying it, I've written memos about it, multi-page memos. We're staying in Howell.
Yeah, but I've heard this time and time again, past administrations.
I promise you, the whole point of working on this deal with the fire districts is so that we can keep dispatch in Howell. It's so that we can have a state-of-the-art system. It's so that people here are safe. It's so that our first responders are safe. That's what we've been working for this whole time. There's no hidden agenda. There's no hidden sinister plot.
It was before you, Mr. Clark, a previous administration and previous mayor.
I will tell you this right now.
They wanted to go to the county.
I'm here for now, and as long as I'm here, I'm going to stick with the deal that we've made. And I know that's the marching orders from council and new council.
For the health, welfare, safety, and the lives of the citizens of Howell Township, I beg you, please, keep emergency services in Howell. Thank you.
To go off that, just so everybody's clear, and it might ease some preconceived notions, part of the application to the local finance board was us describing the differences between staying on the state or the local system versus going to the county system. The local finance board is specifically asking us why we want to stay with our local dispatchers versus going to the county. So it's part of our application of this whole process. So it is planned to stay local. We're not planning on going with the county.
Thank you. Would you like to come up?
Yes. How you doing? My name is Don Franklin. I live at 11 Beacon Drive, and to be transparent, I'm also a fire commissioner of District 3, which is Southern Fire Department. I wasn't going to come up here, but the only comment I had was, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, the gentleman with the suit over. He made a comment that the township's helping the fire districts out. It's really equal. because the township's getting the benefit of this too, the police department, the first aid, the OEM, the public works. So this isn't the township doing the fire districts a favor by doing this. It's almost the other way around. The fire districts are helping the township out to pay for this system that's been needed for the police department for over 20 years. So just so the public's aware of that, because
Sir, I think you misunderstood me, and by the way, I love the Bauer hat. I was a hockey player as
appreciate
well.
it. Thank you.
But no, what I meant was the township is trying to get these meetings in by the end of the year so that the ordinance can be adopted. That's what I meant.
I'm sorry, I just heard you say to help the fire districts out, and
Well,
the township's being helped out by the fire districts, to be honest with you. Everyone's trying to work together with this.
I think it's definitely a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Yeah.
And the point I was making is the township is trying to get these meetings on the calendar by the end of the year so the ordinance can be adopted.
And Mr. Franklin, just to back up what you said,
Yeah.
other townships did go directly to Motorola without the fire departments.
Yeah, I'm sure. Listen,
But this is the deal we have, and we're marching
I've been
forward.
around a long time. I've been the police officer in this town, the dispatcher in this town. I've been in the fire department for 30 years. The radio's needed, so I appreciate
Yeah.
everyone working together.
I
to do it.
hear it's a broken system.
Yeah, it's been a broken system for years.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it's been done. The only question I had, and I'm probably going to get savaged by the other fire commissioners for asking this, Mr. Tyson might shoot me on the way out, is on the ordinance, it says, how providing communications infrastructure to benefit the township and the borough of Farmingdale. What does the borough of Farmingdale have to do with this? As far as I'm concerned, they're not paying a dime for this. It's the fire districts in the township of Howell.
I can weigh in on that. Farmingdale is going to be benefiting from certain radio equipment from this, and they will be entering a shared service agreement and recouping or repaying whatever cost they are incurring.
So my question was,
It was
any
about-
equipment they get, they're paying for.
Correct.
The township of Howell, my fire district money is not going to them.
Yeah, no,
because-
they are reimbursing. Money's going to be laid out to purchase it, and they will be reimbursing us penny for penny for it.
Okay, thank you. That's it. Have a nice holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, you too. Is there anyone else that wants to come up? I could have a motion to close.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. May I have a motion?
Motion to adopt ordinance 22-65.
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes?
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted.
Almost there.
So the next ordinance isn't 66, it's 67.
Yes, Mayor, there was an issue with ordinance 22-66. It needs to be reintroduced. There was an issue with the links on the website.
Okay.
Just for
Okay.
reasons
And that's
we'd
a
like
simple
to.
fee ordinance for lead-based paint inspections, but we moved it to introduction.
Okay. Ordinance 0-22-67, ordinance of the Township of Howell, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, repealing and replacing Chapter 237 of the Township Code entitled Real Property Mortgage Restriction. I'd like to open this for public comment.
Mayor, what does that mean?
I'll take that. So this is the long-awaited vacant and abandoned property ordinance. We called it the real property mortgage registration just because it fits into our ordinance that way. Mr. Dasty's office helped us research the state law that came out, I think it was over the summer. This is a law that townships have to pass and have to start to do. Mr. Dasty also helped us with the ordinance. It's going to allow us to create a registry of vacant and abandoned commercial and residential properties. The abandoned property law kind of takes you in a different direction in terms of trying to correct or fix abandoned properties. This allows us to create a registry. We'll do inspections. We've baked in reduced fees for first responders to be able to, for the Fire Bureau to do inspections and identify any hazards for first responders. So we've worked with them to kind of implement an inspection process. The idea is hopefully by bringing these properties to the attention of the owners, requiring registrations, that we're going to start to see some movement, either people demolish structures that might be too far gone, or start to rehab and introduce them back into use.
And Mayor, that's Mr. Howard's way of saying he's going to wind up being the most popular guy in town. So when you drive down your streets or streets in Howell Township and you see properties that are broken down, no one lives there and they're just falling into disrepair, call Mr. Howard. He's starting a list, and that list will be posted on the township website. The township will be able to rehab those properties and help in bringing the beautification, I guess, if you will, of Howell Township. And the state law changed about 8 months ago, so in order to be able to have an ordinance and be able to enforce it, or enforce the law, I should say, in town, you have to adopt an ordinance which mirrors the state statute.
Thank you very much. At this point, can I have a motion to close?
Motion to close.
May I have a motion?
Need a second?
I'll make a second to close.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. May I have a motion to adopt 22-67?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 22-67.
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted.
Ordinance 0-22-68, an ordinance amending Chapter 178 Housing Code, Rental Property, Article 2, Rental Property, subsection 22, entitled Inspections of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell. I'd like to open this for public discussion.
Barbara, would you like an explanation? Okay. So the state also passed a lead-based paint inspection law. It's becoming a bigger issue, I think more so in urban areas, but there's ties to the use of lead-based paint in structures and homes, to mental health illnesses and toxicology issues. So the state passed a law and is requiring for rentals an inspection requirement. Within 3 years, every rental has to be inspected for lead-based paint. If it's before 1978, we have to identify if there's deteriorating paint, chips, issues in a structure and make them be remediated. So this ordinance is taking the language from the law, putting it into our housing code, and just establishing our authority, rights to do the inspections, and our responsibility to do so.
Thank you.
Can I ask, how does this affect housing developments?
So this ordinance applies to all structures built prior to 1978. That's when lead-based paint became outlawed and prohibited, so this won't affect any new development in any way.
So there are housing developments that are old, like villages and Surrey Downs and stuff that are built, free building code.
So if you want to rent that property and it was built before 1978, we're going to do an inspection. If there's issues with chipping, peeling paint, it's going to have to be corrected before you get a rental certificate and a certificate of occupancy.
And-
But you have to notify the administration of the property about that.
They're applying for the rental certificate and we're doing the inspection through that process. If they're illegally renting, then we have multiple
You'll never know.
issues.
Yeah.
Okay. May I have a motion to close the public?
Motion to close.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 22-69?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt
68.
ordinance 2268.
68.
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted.
Ordinance 22-69, an ordinance of the Township of Howell supplementing Chapter 188, Article X zones, adding new section 188-79.2, entitled Special Economic Development 2, or SED2 zone. I would like to open this for public comment.
Barbara? Charlie?
Explain what it is.
Sure. So in our master plan update, SED2 zone had assembly and packaging as a permitted use. We modified some of the uses as we were going through the different public comments and things. This one was taken out. We realized it was creating several nonconformities. It wasn't really the intention, so we're adding it back in. It's fully supported by the master plan. It's in there verbatim, so we're adding it to the SED2 zone.
And the SCP zones are where?
SED2 zone, there's one at the corner of Route 34, 33, up in that end of town, Randolph Road, and we have another one in, I believe, in the Oakland Road section.
I would like a motion to close the public.
Motion to close public.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. May I have a motion to adopt the ordinance?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance O-22-69.
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted.
I now have introduction of ordinances. Introduction of ordinance 022-66, an ordinance amending Chapter 139 fees, Article 16 Housing Code, Rental Property, subsection 29, and 29.1, entitled Certificates and Inspections, Return Checks and Rental Housing Fees of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell. May I have a motion to introduce the ordinance?
Motion to introduce ordinance 22-66.
Second?
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance passes on first reading.
Introduction of ordinance 0-22-72, an ordinance setting forth and amending and supplementing the salary range schedule for the salaries of certain officers and employees of the Township of Howell. May I have a motion to introduce?
Skip one.
It's 66, the next one is 72.
70 and 71 were at the special meeting on the 14th.
Yeah. Just for clarification.
Sure.
If I may.
Go ahead.
Just for clarification, what the mayor is reading off of, it does say exactly as she said for 72. However, I'm looking at our agenda, and the agenda is referring to, for 22-72, creating Chapter 59 of the Township Code entitled All-Terrain Vehicles. So there is a difference. I just want to make sure
okay.
which ordinance we are deeming ordinance O-22-72.
The all-terrain vehicles.
Okay.
Okay, so that's incorrect. Thank you.
Correct, it's incorrect.
It's correct, it's incorrect. Okay, so that's 72. So ordinance 0-2272, forgive me, I'll restate. It's an ordinance of the Township of Howell, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, creating Chapter 59 of the Township Code entitled All-Terrain Vehicles. May I have a motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance 2272.
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Thank you, Joe.
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes,
Thank you. The ordinance passes on first reading.
I think this is correct. Ordinance 22-73, an ordinance amending Chapter 188 Land Use, Attachment 2, Schedule 2, okay, entitled Bulk and, thank you very much, and Dimensional Requirements, Residential and Non-Residential Zones of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Howell. May I have a motion to introduce?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance O-22-73.
A second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance passes on first reading.
Ordinance 22-74, an ordinance authorizing the lease of Block 178, Lot 22.07, owned by the Township of Howell to Twin Pond Farm LLC for agricultural or horticultural use in accordance with NJSA 40A colon 12-14.1. May I have a motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion to introduce
to
ordinance 22-74.
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance passes on first reading.
The next scheduled regular meeting, as we mentioned, is December 13th. Executive at 6, regular session at 7. To reiterate, on the 14th, the Finance Committee is meeting, so hopefully we'll be able to meet back here on the 16th via Zoom to vote on the ordinance. So I just wanted to put those dates out there again, and thank you for shaking your head. I want to just wish everybody a very, very happy and healthy and safe Thanksgiving. Enjoy family and friends. It's very far and in between sometimes that we get to see them. So thank you, everybody here. I wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. And for everybody at the side dais, this was a very nice meeting today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If I may,
Please.
thank you. I just also just want to reiterate a happy Thanksgiving to everybody. This happens to be my favorite holiday because it's a time when we're all reflect on all of the blessings that we've been given. Everybody has something to be thankful for. So when we look inside of our heart and look around our world and just pause and reflect, and I think it's a really special day. So I wish everybody peace and joy on this very special holiday. At the risk of being repetitive, I know I feel like I've been saying this at the last couple of meetings, but thank you, one and all. Joe, Matt, Caitlin, Diane, Lou, if you were here, and Mr. Dasty joining, and we have just had such a robust set of agendas these last couple of meetings, and I hear from community members, as we've heard tonight, log jams are being cleared, things are getting done, there are so many positive improvements happening, there are creative and innovative ideas coming through, and it's just an honor and a pleasure to be able to sit here and watch all of this happen. And you guys are doing extraordinary work, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that, because the thoughtfulness that goes into everything from the holiday, the joyful holiday celebrations, to the really important work of getting the ordinances right to protect the character of our town, to the safety of our community. You guys are just doing it all. So I just wanted to just take that time and say thank you, one and all.
I like this. We're getting ending every meeting with thank you, so thanks, guys.
Yeah, there is something. I had one of the commissioners mention to me that apparently there was some conversation by one resident that seems to have incited people into thinking we were going to the county. So for that, I'd like to, I won't share the name, I don't think that's appropriate, but I will apologize to the public that for some reason has been given the information that has made everybody very uneasy, upset a lot of people, and for that I'm truly sorry. As has been stated by Mr. Clark and others, this is a project that we've been working on for some time. It did start with Manager Geegan. As we see now, it's going to come to fruition. The little hiccup with the issue with the one election, our professionals are only trying to expedite as quickly as possible, fixing that issue so that everything can go through smoothly. Motorola has kept their word, saying that they will keep the pricing on this project as it was. So I'm sorry that there was some information out there. It was unfortunate, but that was never the intent. It was said that there was some political ploy for the 6 years I've been here. No one has ever pressured me to go to the county, but that's neither here nor there. Very important to me is that everyone knows the senior center is still having their holiday luncheon. If you'd like to participate, please pre-register. And as always, they ask for volunteers. At this time of the year, they have a lot of functions going on. So even if you can only volunteer for one or two things this month, don't hesitate to call Melanie Decker, in charge at the senior center. She's always happy to get another pair of hands to give her a helping hand. And I also share that we have a nice Thanksgiving, safe, happy, and start your holiday shopping because it's here. Thank you very much, and have a good holiday.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.